Well, I'm a geologist, as you just heard, and on every geologist's bucket list is seeing red rock, flowing hot lava. It's hard to find, you know. Fortunately, in early December 2003, I was very fortunate enough to be at a meeting at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, which is right on the rim of Kilauea caldera. The caldera is about 2 miles across and with 500-foot high walls. And it's impossible not to go there and just gawk at the caldera. But I was a geologist. I wanted more than just pretty views. I was staying in a very charming little B&B down in Hilo, and the innkeeper there knew exactly where to hike to see the flowing stuff. And he told me where to go, and he advised me on how to sample the lava. And he said, well, if you can go and sample, and here's how to do it. And just remember that Pele, the goddess of fire, who lives under Kilauea, you're taking something from her, and she would like a little something in return. Pele likes gin. Well, I'm a geologist, which means I'm a scientist, and scientists are famously skeptical about things like this, especially metaphysical things. So I smiled at him. Now, by the front door of the inn, there was a stack of long wooden sticks, and they were charred at both ends. So I took one for my hike the next day, and I started off before dawn, just off Chain of Craters Road, which is not too far from Kilauea, and I headed east, guided only by moonlight. I hiked over rough volcanic terrain, passing volcanoes or craters with names like Makaupu'i in Nepal. My goal was Pu'u'o'o, which was a volcano about 9 miles in, and that was the source of the flowing lava. So as the sun rose, I marched along, and I finally got to a spot not too far from Pu'u'o'o, where there was thick yellow volcanic cinder lying everywhere. And in that cinder, there were 2 deep gashes in the earth, and they reeked of sulfur. And I looked down into them, and I thought, that's the gates of hell. And a little bit farther, and I came upon a sea of black lava lying on top of that yellow cinder. The sun was now high and beating down. It was hot. I scanned this lava, which looked very black and very fresh, but I didn't see anything flowing. Then I looked to the south, and I saw some smoke. There was a stand of trees down there. So I headed down there, and there I was in a forest of stunted trees, and there was the lava moving through the forest. I'd made it. The lava was ropey lava called pohoihoi, and it inched along by these oozing out these little lobes of red lava, and those would quickly congeal and harden and turn black. And then they'd crack open, and out of that crack, more lava would ooze out. And in that way, the lava inched along. And I just watched this, totally fascinating. And there was a sound accompanying it. It was the sound of tiny crystal goblets breaking. That was the sound of the skin of the lava as it cooled. It would turn glassy, and that was the sound of the glassy skin shattering into little pieces as the lava oozed along. Well, I was totally engrossed in watching all this. I didn't realize a tree 10 foot in front of me burst into flame. The tree had been ignited by the lava which had crept around it. I suddenly started to worry. What if there was a forest fire? I was surrounded by fire, and I got trapped in that woods. Well, no matter, I was a geologist, and I had work to do. I got out my long wooden stick. I'd gone to Walmart the night before and purchased 2 sturdy metal spoons, kitchen spoons, and I got a roll of duct tape. So I took out the spoons and a roll of duct tape, and I taped a spoon to each end of the long stick. And I proceeded to sample the lava, which you did by poking the stick into the lava very quickly and bringing it out, because if you left it in too long, the spoon would sag from the heat of the lava. And you needed a long stick because the lava was so hot, you couldn't get any closer than about 5 feet before the heat just got you. So I poked the stick in, got a sample, flipped the stick around the other end, poked that one in, pulled it out, and I had 2 samples of lava. It didn't take long for the lava on those spoons to congeal into this black glassy mass. So I unwrapped it, and so I was ready to leave. I'd accomplished my mission. So I unwrapped the 2 spoons, put them in my pack, and headed out. Now this time I headed downhill, straight down towards the coast, because the end of this road I had driven on, Chain of Craters, ended down there, and that would be an easy place to hitch a ride back. Now I went down, and this time I was on lava, which is very rough and jagged. So I had to hike with real care. Where do I place my feet? I had to be very careful about that. So it was kind of nerve-wracking. But I got down and I saw the road finally about 20 feet in front of me. And I relaxed, let down my guard, and promptly tripped head over heels on the lava, gashing my arm open. Well, I stood on the road and I looked at myself, decided I wasn't an ER case, and stuck out my thumb to hitch back to my car. It was about a 12-hour hike total, but I'd escaped with my samples. Now, it didn't occur to me at the time that because I had taken something from Pele, maybe she had decided to punish me. Thought never crossed my mind. I felt triumphant. 2 days later, I was back, and it was time for our geologist's annual holiday potluck. So along with my usual dish, I put down a spoon with 2-day-old lava in amongst the salads and the casseroles. A year later, I was back, this time with my colleague Rich, also a geologist, also a skeptic, an ex-sailor. You heard about sailors tonight. He was the same way. He swore a lot and had the same view of metaphysical things like goddesses as I did. So we had our meeting. We met with the innkeeper. He told us where to go. We grabbed our sticks and we went to Walmart to get purchase our supplies, passing right by the liquor store. So we headed out this time in the late afternoon, because it's really the best time to see flowing lava is at dusk. The lava really stands out. And we were parked at the end of Chain of Craters Road this time, not far from the coast. And we hiked in over this tossing sea of black lava, up and down and up and down and up and down. We got to where the lava was flowing, and it was great. And it looked fantastic in the dusky light. And we did our sampling and marveled at it, and everything was great. By the time we were done, it was pitch black. It was time to head back. A young doctor from Manhattan had joined us, and he said, he asked to hike back with us. So we took off, and at that point I realized we had one flashlight, mine, for the 3 of us, and we were going to hike back 3 miles over this rugged lava. So I took up the rear and shined the light at their feet so they could see where they were going. So back we went, and things were doing pretty well until about halfway back, when Rich tripped, fell, and gashed open his leg. Well, we had a doctor with us. The doctor advised for Rich to take off his shirt and bind the wound, and we made our way on. It wasn't until we got back to the car we realized that Rich, when he took off his shirt, took off his camera as well and left it on one of the lava rocks. And of course the camera was black, just like the lava. So our plans the next day were totally dashed. We were going to go sightseeing around the island and have a great time. Instead, we had to come back and do this needle in a haystack search of a black camera in a sea of black rock. Not very likely, right? Well, I knew exactly what to do. We headed back down to Hilo, and I headed straight for the liquor store. Rich rolled his eyes. I purchased a little bottle of gin, and the next morning we were back, this time very early, because we figured we'd need all day to find this little camera. So we hiked in a little ways, and I looked around to see if anyone was looking, like park rangers or anything. No one was looking, and I took out the bottle of gin, and I found a crack, and I slid it down very carefully into the crack so it wouldn't break. And we headed on. We split up to cover more ground, and about 30 minutes later, I found that camera. So I found the camera and told Rich triumphantly, and I looked over towards Kilauea and murmured a silent thanks. Even skeptical scientists can have gods. Thank you.